are you doing up on the bed? Boop. I guess she's joining us for this video. Hi, hello, welcome back to another book related video here on my channel. I've been seeing this video go around so much here lately, and today I wanted to do the same concept of 10 books I hope to finish before the end of 2023. Also, with that being said, technically a lot of people have been doing this 10 books with 10 weeks. I could technically read a book a week and be at the end of the year. By the time this video posts, because I pre-filmed for a while, it'll probably be 4, maybe 6 weeks left of the year, so it's not much time. I do believe mid-November, maybe late November is when this video is going to be posted. So by then I will only have 1 month left to finish hopefully all of these books. I'm also including last month's, or actually November's TBR into this video because technically, since it is a TBR, I really hope to finish and read every single book of my TBR this month as like a little bonus content, or at least just a bonus book in general. I want to also add in the first book that I want to start off in 2024, and it's mainly because it's a bigger book and I knew I probably wouldn't get to it at the end of this year, but I feel like a lot of the book takes place, as far as I know, in like a wintry type scenery, and I feel like maybe January is going to be one of the best months to pick up this book. So that will be at the end of this. So basically we are going over 11 total books, and without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. To start off the 10 books, first and foremost, I'm going over a trilogy that I really hope to read and finish within the next week, maybe 2. I'm talking about the Renegades trilogy. So first we have Renegades, Arch Enemies, and also Supernova. They're not too long. I do believe they are a little bit longer, like 500 give or take pages each, and I'm leaving myself completely blind, but I know this is a superhero dystopian type world, and I hear a lot of good things, never spoilers thankfully, and I'm hoping I'm going to love this trilogy. Just Renegades was part of my TBR for November, and then going secondly on the TBR, I also wanted to read 2x2 by Nicholas Sparks. I just picked up a random one from him because I think I have like 6 or 8 books from him that I still have left to read, and they've just been sitting on my bookcase, and I feel like it's finally time to start picking some of them back up. And this one's a pretty chunky one as well. It's like 500-600 pages, and I also recently just broke it in, but I don't think I broke it in correctly because there's this gap here. I tried to like relax the spine, which somebody before had already cracked the spine a little bit, and I'm a big spine cracker too, but for whatever reason I wanted to test out a book that I didn't necessarily care about, trying to relax the spine, and I think I did it wrong. On the back of the book, basically it is about a father and a 6-year-old daughter, and I do believe the wife leaves him, or the wife dies. Somehow the wife is gone, and he just basically has to make it by himself, just the two of them, so it's called 2x2 for that reason. And also I do believe it says on the back that somebody from his past comes back in, so because this is a Nicholas Sparks book, of course there's going to be romance. He's probably going to fall in love with his ex or whoever the girl is from his past, and you know, happily ever after. So this is my 4th book. Then we have After by Anna Todd. This has been on my TBR for 2 months in a row now, and I didn't get to it last month mainly because I was traveling and I just didn't pack this because it is a chunkier series, and I didn't want to throw potentially all the books into a suitcase when I was driving out to either Huntington Beach or all the way back to Kentucky and Indiana. So I just didn't pick it up, and I put it back on the TBR for this month. Now I will say, if I happen to continue the series and read, you know, book 2, 3, I think there's 6 books total. If I do happen to instead love this book and then read the whole series the rest of the month, I will be okay with that. I'm honestly hoping to read all of these books this year, but if nothing else, if I end up reading this series and it takes up majority of the 10 weeks left, I'm okay with pushing those books more into 2024 because I know eventually I will get there before at least we move and we have to pack up in less than 5 months. I'm really hoping this month to finally get to this one. And then we have A Summer Affair by Ellen Hilderbrand, and I have a few of her books, I think around 4 or 5, that have been sitting on my shelf for a while, just like Nicholas Sparks. So I am trying to pick her books up and read them and finally get into them. They do so far Hotel Nantucket and then also The Identicals. Both of those took me, I think, 100 or 150 pages to get into. They're kind of slow for me. Something about her writing, I noticed that she has a lot of politics, or at least she tries to be like politically correct or whatever inside her book, so that also deters me. But I've already bought so many, or thrifted more than anything, so many of her books, and I do want to actually read them because the overall stories that she has are usually pretty decent, and it just, for some reason takes so many pages to get into, but once it starts picking up, I feel like they're actually really good books. So I threw this on my TBR as well. Then we have The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I thrifted this not too long ago and I was excited to read this. And I also have another thriller that I potentially wanted to do like a reading thrillers for a week video. So if I get to that, I'm really excited to make that, but that would also be at least 2 books most likely that would be in that video, and I don't have the second book on my 10 books that I want to read before the end of the year. So that might be a future issue or at least a future video. Also, I thrifted this book, which I'm so excited to read. I've been trying really hard not to be persuaded to read this book and wait for a little bit. I have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan, and I am so excited to read this. Very excited to read this. I've heard such great things from this book or about this book. Alexa has read this book, and I think it's her favorite book ever. It's a 5-star read from so many people, and it was really hyped up for a very long time, and now I'm starting to find all those older books, or at least older hyped up books in thrift stores, and I'm loving it. I'm loving picking them up, and I love reading them to see what the hype was, even though it's been like 2+ years later. Then we have Girl in Pieces. I don't have the dust jacket for this because I thrifted this and it was only $2. I used to hear some things about this book. I haven't seen really anybody read it in a while, but I do believe it's more of a like sadder book, and I wanted to read this book and Archer's Voice together in a video, and maybe another one if they are both sad books, and that way I could do kind of like reading sad books for a week video. I don't know why, I just have a lot of like video ideas that I kind of wanted to get to, but I have no promises because I don't know if 2 books is enough or if I should maybe do more than 2. But here's this one as well. And then the 10th and final book that I wanted to get to before this year ends is also another one I thrifted for $3, and I've heard some really great things about this book, not particularly anything about the plot of this book. I have no clue what this is actually about, but also I've seen that Destiny Sidwell rated this book, I do believe 4 or 5 stars, and I feel like because she's a harsher critic, I'm gonna end up liking it more because we do have similar taste for the most part, and I kind of trust book YouTubers' opinions a lot more on a book than just random people or random things I see out in the world, just because sometimes you find those people that you really enjoy what they read or how they rate things because it's very similar to how you rate a certain book, and then it just makes it easier to go and find really good books, hopefully. Not always, but a lot of the time. And we have my first V.E. Schwab book. This is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I do believe. Don't quote me on that, it might be wrong. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. I seen this, I did a double take in a thrift store and I instantly grabbed it. I don't know if V.E. Schwab is really hard to read, but I think this was in Destiny's Dark Academia video. I'm not 100% positive, but I think it was. And it's been a little bit hyped up here recently in the last couple months. It's not that old, but it's also not that new. It is from 2020. So I don't know if it's just people have been discovering it and loving it and then hyping it up more and more. I do eventually want to get to this book as well. And then we have our book that I want to start off 2024 with, and this is a pretty chunky book, and it is The Chronicles of Narnia. This is like a 800+ page book. It's all 7 stories in one. They just combined it. I didn't know they had a book like this until I found this in Goodwill. It was $1, I do believe, or $2. It was $1 or $2. It wasn't much, and I instantly took it home. It's also a first American edition, and I don't know why out here in Las Vegas there are so many first editions, first prints that I find in thrift stores. Like, people will buy them and just toss them out, and I know eventually they will kinda, depending on who they are or which versions, you can get pretty decent money from certain ones. I love collecting them. Just ironically, I don't actually look for them, but when I have them at my house, I do end up swapping through and seeing if they are first editions, and this one happened to be one of them, and I'm just excited to read this. For whatever reason, I just keep looking at this on my bookshelf and I'm wanting to read this, but like I said, since this is a chunkier book and it's so many books in one, it might take me a while, and that's why I wanted to wait till 2024. Also because if I remember correctly, a lot of the Narnia movies, which I haven't seen in like 10+ years, a lot of them were during when the winter was happening, or at least the snow was happening, and I've seen a lot of TikToks here lately. I think I spoiled the ending of either the book or the movies because I don't think I watched them all, and I think I spoiled them because of one TikTok, which I'm so upset about, but at the same time, it's like I want to know for sure if it is true or not, so I do want to read this. And I know this might be the perfect book to read right before we move, like while we're actively packing up our house in the next couple months. This is going to be the best book, I feel like, because it's so thick. It'll keep me entertained and I don't have to necessarily worry about swapping it out. Like a thinner book that's maybe 300-400 pages max, I don't have to worry about finishing it as soon as I would other books. That's my thinking, at least. Let's see if I can pick all these up without dropping them. Whew, that is all 10 books that I'm hoping to finish before the year ends, and then also the first book that I want to start off the year 2024 with. Thank you all so much for watching this video. As always, subscribe. I hope to see y'all next week, and God bless.